What's up, everybody? We're back. R2C2. Bonus episode. What's good, cuz?
Special edition, man. Special times, or maybe it's not special times, but these times call for bonus episodes. But before we dive into the postmortem of the Yankees, can I just say how cool, or ask, I should say, how cool was it? You go to, was it in Atlanta that you were watching, Lil C?
Yeah, I went down to Georgia Tech.
His first game you've seen in college, I guess it's fall ball, right? His first at bat, and this dude hits a home run.
Man, it was crazy. So, I hadn't seen Lil C since I dropped him off like the middle of August. But I had never really asked him about baseball. We don't never talk about baseball. It's just about how he's feeling, how he's doing. I like to FaceTime him so I can see his mood and see his face.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been in a great mood. Every time I talk to him, he's out doing different things, experiencing college. And so for me, the baseball was secondary. You know what I'm saying? Like I never even cared about how he was playing or how he was even fitting in with the baseball team. I was just worried about how he was fitting in Atlanta and in college. And he seemed to be transitioning great. Fast forward to this weekend, I get down there and I just wanted to put eyes on him. You know what I'm saying? Like him in his uniform, see how he looks around other college players. And, kid, he just got out of high school. And I go down there. This motherfucker looks like he's been in college for 3 years. Like he looks like a junior. You know what I'm saying? Like his uniform's fitting right. Like he just looks the fucking part. And he gets in the box, man. His first at bat, takes a curveball. And then took a heater dead center, bro. It was just like, I got goosebumps now just thinking about it. But for me, not so much the baseball, just more so seeing him mature and turn into a grown man and take care of, himself and things on his own was awesome to me. So it was good to get down there and put eyes on him this weekend. And, the home run was just a bonus.
This is more of just like a father question as someone who's still new to the game, with a an almost 14-month-old, do you still like see him as like a baby? Like what or like how does that part of it work?
No, he's always still like a baby. You know what I'm saying? Like like always, like he's always like a little kid to me. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that'll ever change. But for me, I just feel like I kind of go off of him. Like this whole weekend, I just did whatever he wanted to do as opposed to me kind of leading. You know what I'm saying? Let him take us to dinner and his different spots. And when he was ready to go back to his apartment, let him go to his room and we go back to our hotel. So just kind of letting him take the lead in that way and knowing his city is a change. But no, he'll always be like a little 5-year-old to me,
Yeah. I could totally appreciate that now, much more so than I ever would have been able to before EV. How about the poise that my co-host showed? So C sent around the video of Little C's home run, and this dude somehow kept it together. I'm like, C, I don't know how you weren't going nuts when he hit that home run, but you didn't make a peep.
No, I never, because I don't never get caught up in like his results either way, good or bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, when he hits a home run or does something good, I'm almost like he's supposed to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like we've been working the process and all of that stuff. So for me, it's just like I want him to be healthy and be in a good, happy mood. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about the process more so it is than about the result. So I never really react for his results. You know what I'm saying? I mean, inside I was screaming, but like just outside it's just kind of like it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
So he seems like just totally comfortable, at ease, like in college life.
Yeah, I keep telling Amber, I feel like, we all made the right decision. And that's all you can hope for when you send your kid off to college, No matter how he plays, how all of that shit plays out, we made the right decision in putting him at Georgia Tech at the end of the day, and that's all you can ask for.
That's awesome, man. Good for you. Well, congratulations. That is such an awesome moment. Like, I can't even imagine. Oh, man. Like, you go to his first game, he hits home run in college. It's incredible, man.
It was crazy, man.
It's incredible. Well, I'm glad we get to start with something good baseball-wise before we get to something not so good baseball-wise. It's funny. At the beginning of the beginning of the series, we kind of, and we said it on the pod as well, but like every one of my friends, including our group chat, we kind of all had the approach of knowing the Astros were better, but feeling like, hey, like you said, the better team doesn't always win, like, and maybe it's time, and maybe they're just going to get the breaks and whatever. But even though 3 of these games were very much up for grabs, and even the 4th had its moments, right? Game 3 had its moments where it's 2-0 in the 6th inning, right?
Mm-hmm.
All those little winning things that make the difference, the Astros have down and the Yankees coughed up. Every mistake the Yankees made, Houston made them feel. And see, that's just such a sign of a good team, man.
Yeah, but it's been like that for years, cuz. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's been like that forever. They do the little things that we don't do. They get the runners over. They get the big hits. They get the big outs when they need to.
They don't make the errors.
They don't make errors at all in the in big games. You know what I'm saying? And I think everybody wants to call this a rivalry and all that shit, but it's not a rivalry if the other team never fucking wins.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's no fucking rivalry. They've been kicking our ass since 2015, period. So there's nothing else that any Yankee fan, player, anybody in this organization on this side can say about the Astros, period. Like, there's nothing. Like, I don't want to hear shit. They're the better team, organization, everything top to bottom.
Yep.
Period. Yep. I mean, it ain't really much more to really fucking say other than there is no rivalry. Yankee fans, they were outside of Yankee Stadium screaming, "We want the Astros," and we got the Astros and got fucking swept. I mean, it ain't really much more to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know where to go because the things that happened in this series are the things that have been happening in every series against the Astros since 2017. So, yeah, I mean, there's nowhere to go, bro. You know what I'm saying? There's nowhere to break it down. We've talked about it a million fucking times. I mean, they lose Correa, and then the guy that replaces Correa turns into the ALCS MVP. Like,
crazy.
They do a better job than anybody of developing talent, getting pitchers and developing pitchers, and keeping their superstars, and they fucking players show up in the biggest moments. Bregman, Alvarez, and fucking Altuve. They show up October 5th. When it's fucking time, they fucking show up.
Well, and if they don't, they will like Altuve and Alvarez are about to have a monster World Series after they were basically held in check until Game 4 of the ALCS.
But Alvarez,
they're about to go off.
But Alvarez
had a huge DS. Yeah, and Altuve is absolutely going to have a monster World Series after. I mean, the guy, you knew he was about to get hits, which he did in Game 4 because he wasn't going to go 0 for 30. After he was 0 for 23. But see, I think the way you just described that was perfect. That macro view of, hey, like there's nothing to say anymore. After 2017, right? And when we found out the way that the Astros cheated, I thought it was very reasonable. And you obviously were a loud voice for it as well as someone who was a key member of that team to feel like you got gypped, right? Because you were at Game 7, on the brink of your trip to the World Series, and this team cheated in a way that went beyond the bounds of what normally was accepted in baseball, even at that time, right? But in the aftermath of that, what the Astros have done is they have, in my opinion, further validated that championship run. If they would have fallen off the table, right? It's like if a guy's using steroids and hits 50 home runs, and then you knew for certain he was clean, and the next year he hits 45. It's like, well, you know what? Yeah, I mean, he could do this, right?
You go from 50 to 9, then you got a problem.
Exactly. And this team didn't go to 9. This team instead stayed right where they are. And, because 17, okay, right? Like 17, all right, you want another crack at him. 19, you get a crack. You don't win, but there was some thought about like, oh, is Altuve wearing a buzzer? Was he wearing a buzzer? Okay, fine. Like there's a little whisper of that. Fine. This year, what? You just got beat. There's nothing anymore. And it kind of helps validate what happened in the other years then to a certain extent. And all it can leave you doing, I think, if you're the Yankees, is being incredibly motivated to try and figure out what are they doing that you are not. Because I don't buy the whole, oh, we build the team for 162 and October is a crapshoot. You know what? For most organizations, yeah, October does feel like a little bit of a crapshoot from year to year compared to what happens in the regular season. For the Dodgers, for the Rays, for the Yankees, yeah, they've been very consistently great in 162, and October's felt like, but you know what? For the Astros, it's no crapshoot. They win this time of year over and over again.
And even that one year when they had the bad 162, they came to the playoffs and fucking showed up.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Or was that the 20? Was that 2020?
That was the
COVID year.
They had a bad 60.
They had a bad 60, but they showed up and fucking went. I think they went to the ALCS that year.
They did.
So like
they went to Game 7 against Tampa.
October 5th, cuz, or October 1st, whatever the fuck you want to start the playoffs.
Yeah.
They fucking show up as an organization, as a city, as a fucking team, as a players individually. They show up. I mean, all of them.
And that's why my approach is like, if you're the Yankees now, instead of being upset or angry at that organization for sins of the past, you should be looking at them and saying, what can I learn from them? Because they are doing something that we are not. That would be my approach if I was the Yankees. Like, what are they doing that we're not? Because they somehow are losing key players, key front office, key people in the dugout, and they just keep winning.
You know what? It's the scouting and the player development. Because you look at a guy like Jeremy Pena, went to the University of Maine. Like, he could have been gotten by anybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not exactly a baseball juggernaut.
This is what I'm saying. Yordal Alvarez. You know what I mean? He got traded from the Dodgers organization from
Josh Fields.
Josh Fields. But the Astros were on him before that. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about Valdez and what's the other guy? What's the starter's name? The lefty. The Framber
Valdez.
Valdez, yeah. I mean, they scouted him and signed him at a later age. So I think he was 18 from DR when most kids sign at 16. So, they give up, those 2 years and they give up on him. And the Astros sign him and develop him and turn him into one of the better starters in the league. So you can say whatever you want to say about them, but the organization is just one of the better ones in MLB right now. And like you said, they validated everything from 2017 to now. You can't really say shit, man.
No, you really can't. You really can't anymore. Now it's just spilled milk, because the reality is you've had opportunities to get them back. You've had opportunities. Now, let's say the Yankees would have won this year or 2019 or, then all of a sudden you're saying like, yeah, we know why you beat us in 2017. We know exactly why. But instead, this team, they've been in the ALCS every year since 2017. They're headed now to their third World Series, fourth World Series since then? Right. Because
17, 18.
They went to, 18 they didn't go. Red Sox went to the World Series.
18, yeah. 17, 19.
17, 19 last year, this year. Yeah. Exactly, right. Lost to the Braves, lost to the Nats, and beat the Dodgers.
And beat the Dodgers.
But yeah, I mean, and I think that my general thesis would be the Yankees have to take a real, honest assessment of themselves and say, where are we missing that makes the difference when it comes to trying to keep up with them? The Red Sox did that. That's how they built up their team to be able to take down the Yankees in 2004 and to compete with them the year before and then win the championships they won. They took real stock of, like, that team is kicking our tails year after year. What do we have to do? And they did it. And I think that instead of an insistence of, oh, like, our formula works, we know what we're doing, there has to be some humility of, like, you know what you're doing, to a point. There is some leg of this race that you are not completing right now as the New York Yankees, and you have to be hell-bent on completing it.
You think people in the Yankees organization are like that, like have that attitude where like we think we know what we're doing?
I think that, I don't know. I shouldn't say if I know or not, but I think that what I've heard in the past is like justification and defensiveness for like how they go about things, especially when it comes to analytics and everything else. And my point isn't to say that like the Yankees aren't doing a million things right, because they are.
I'm just saying nobody can ever say that like they don't feel like we need to get better. You know what I'm saying? Or like be defensive, or if anybody is defensive of being, of somebody being critical of our analytics or our front or whatever.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, that's
on you. Yeah.
Yeah. That's part of your job, cuz.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
I couldn't agree more.
If you put a winner out there, ain't nobody gonna say shit.
Exactly. And I think that's my general point is like there has to be something that shows like this result is not acceptable if you want to get the ultimate result, right? Like I don't know what route you go to get there, but if you just keep being satisfied or not making any sort of, dramatic philosophical changes to things, like then you are maybe going to keep having this result, right? And this result is really good for most organizations, but this is not what the New York Yankees are built upon. They're built upon championships.
Yeah, and I don't even think this result is really good if you just keep getting to the same spot. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. Well, see, how crazy is it to think that your 2017 team was actually the team that was closest to a title of this run?
That was closest, yeah.
If I would have told you that,
I think that's why it's hard for people to let that go.
Yeah,
because they got found that they were cheating because we were so close.
Yes,
you know what I'm
saying?
saying?
In Game 7.
But everything that's happened since then has should let everybody know that we wasn't that fucking close.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, yeah, I reacted in the moment and all of that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And for sure, yeah. We were one game away, maybe one out away. You know what I'm saying? Like we said.
Yeah.
But everything from that moment to now has suggested that we wasn't that fucking close.
Mm-hmm. And the tough thing is like, and I'm saying this, I'm really kind of like diagnosing the problem without giving solutions, and I understand that. But like, there's certain things about the way the offense is constructed, right? And in fairness, the Yankees were without what would have been their two best contact hitters, right?
Benintendi really
and LeMahieu.
Benintendi hurt a lot, a big time.
Like the offense feels completely different if those two guys are in the lineup.
Absolutely.
Like, you would have been able to bench Donaldson if you wanted to. You
had two rookies in the lineup in the ALCS. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and you were playing pick your lineup out of a hat every game, and a merry-go-round of shortstops. And
I mean, we were making defensive replacements at shortstop late in the game in the ALCS. Like, that's crazy.
Crazy. It's
you
crazy.
Know what I'm saying?
Yes. There was a lot of illogical things that I think happened. Some of it was trying to piece together a roster that had been, crippled a little bit by injury, right? No LeMahieu and no Benintendi were serious issues for the offense. Losing, Michael King and Chad Green.
Mike King was a huge one, bro.
Huge losses for the bullpen. Chapman going AWOL and never pitching well this year.
Zach Britton not getting back.
Yes.
I think would have been a big one. I just think with Chappie, I think that, it was a little bit got lost in translation. I wish they would have had better communication. I feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for the whole situation. I feel sorry for the way it all went down, because I know his teammates and he loves his teammates. I know his teammates love him. And I just, hate the way that relationship kind of ended. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
That sucked. And, you're going into the playoffs with that lingering over.
That's not a good feeling.
I mean, I'm not even trying to be funny, but like going into the GS, because I knew that was going to be a 5-game series. I told y'all that from the beginning in the group chat, just because of the way because of the way the Guardians put the ball in play.
Yes.
And them putting the ball in play is a problem because we don't put the ball in play enough.
Yes.
And
the strikeout numbers. I don't know if Atta has the stats, but it was. I mean, the strikeout numbers were, just brutal. I mean, they were. They were historically bad.
17 times. I was at game 1.
Yeah,
they struck out, and it's so crazy because you're conditioned now to not even to see the strikeouts. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
They were just racking up, and I'm looking at the scoreboard, 13, 14, and it didn't even register to me that they're striking out at a record number. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just it was crazy, man. To just it's just waving that shit. It's insane.
And you're right. And those are areas where obviously LeMahieu and Benintendi would have helped, right? And the Yankee offense over the last few years has never felt right when LeMahieu hasn't been in it. Yep. So I want to be fair to that. But so that is a reason for the offense looking worse. However, it is not an excuse because, look, the Astros didn't have Michael Brantley. The Astros just find a way, right? Whoever's in, who's ever out. Somehow they find these pitchers.
Bro,
somehow they develop this talent.
I've never seen that guy before.
Yeah.
No,
and it's a massive home run. Massive home run. But I also...
You know what else, too? Martin Maldonado was on base entirely too much.
Yes.
Turning the lineup over.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Their lineup top to bottom is so fucking good. He turned that lineup over so many times, and people never give him credit for that. It's just top to bottom, and just a lot of shit that they have that we don't.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know how it gets better. And it's funny because there are, I think within the series, it's fair to have some criticisms of Aaron Boone with certain moves, right? I'll take this part of it. There was a couple moves that bothered me throughout. Obviously, the Game 3 thing in the ALDS with Holmes I thought was egregious, but they got through it. But there's a couple things in this series that I thought were mistakes. Leaving Clark Schmidt in the 6th inning of a 1-1 game in Game 1 and then kind of admitting we wanted to see what we got. You can't ever treat a playoff game, and I don't know if that's him, I don't know if it's coming above him, but I can say this definitively. You can never treat a playoff game like it's a let's find out experiment. If you are in the game, you got to do what you can to win the game. You can't give away games or try and steal games in the playoffs, especially not in a series against a superior opponent. So that bothered me. The other thing that I didn't like the merry-go-round at shortstop. I thought once you put Peraza there in Game 2, you should have stuck with him and just ridden it out. I'm sure that's not just a Boone thing, but I didn't like how that was handled. And then the other thing was, to me, it was a terrible mistake in the 6th inning of Game 3 to take out Cole and bring in Trevino when, Cole gave up one hard hit at the beginning of the inning, then he walked a batter, then he gave up a bloop hit. You need strikeouts. His stuff was great, even though, the results weren't amazing. Their stuff was great. But my thing is, in that spot, if you're taking him out, bring him in for Loizaga. Bring in Loizaga for him because the game is right there. You can't bring in a contact pitcher in that situation. It just did not make sense. I think all those criticisms of Booney are incredibly fair. Having said that, if your takeaway from the series is, the reason we lost is Aaron Boone, you are missing the picture. You are missing what actually happened in that series. There are things he did that I don't agree with and that I first guessed, and I happily would have that talk, that dialogue with him about. And, I very much respect him. But the Yankees lost because they made poorly timed defensive mistakes that the Astros capitalized on, and because they did not hit at all. Man, that's why they lost.
Yeah. I didn't watch after the game. Did they explain what happened on the double play last night? It was a perfect toss.
You know what? It was. You know what I thought I saw? I thought I saw Kiner Falefa not looking. I thought I saw him looking down. When I saw one of the replays, I thought I saw him looking down. And they never said it on TV, and they didn't. Whatever angle I saw that initially showed that, I didn't see it again. But they did kind of say, they did say in the post game that they thought that error might have been more on Kiner Falefa than it was on Glaber.
I thought what it looked like to me that he wasn't going to throw the ball to first.
Yeah.
It looked like he was just going to try to get it out, and then because he thought Pena was too fast, that he just thought Glaber was just going to toss it to him on the back of the bag. Because where he was going to turn the double play, the way Altuve was peeling off, he would have hit Altuve in the face with the ball anyway. You know what I'm saying? The angle that he was at. So I don't think he was ever going to turn the double play. I think he was just going to get the out at second and wasn't going to throw the ball to first.
And look, I'd say organizationally, again, if the Yankees are doing an honest self-autopsy, they have to look at what they didn't do to prepare Peraza to be a more viable option in these playoffs. The Astros threw Pena into the fire. They didn't say like, oh, we need to.
Peraza, they threw him right in the game too. Base hit, but it was a ball right up the middle of the first play, and he comes up and makes the play. Like you said, he's your shortstop for the rest of the series.
I mean, he was unbelievable defensively in that game.
He was.
And by the way, he was 0 for 3 like the rest of the team that game, but his at-bats, to me, looked very competent. His first at-bat, he got ahead 3-0 or 3-1, was spitting on stuff. He hit a fly ball to center field, and then he struck out his last at-bat, but there was nothing about his at-bats that made me feel like, oh, he's overmatched. And I think where the Yankees did themselves a disservice is they didn't see or pretended not to or ignored what everybody else saw when it came to Kiner Falefa all season long. So many of us would have the conversations of like, his arm isn't really strong over there. Like he's skittish on some plays. Like, I don't know how he's going to handle October. And while there were elements that he brought that were needed with the contact, and athleticism, you could kind of tell that he wasn't the right fit. He was more of a utility player fit, in my opinion, for this team. And they didn't do anything about it. And then Peraza didn't play enough once he was up. And so then I think it took away from their confidence of feeling like Peraza could handle that moment when really they should have been in position to just have Peraza be the shortstop.
So now what going forward? You got Cabrera, who's an infielder. You got Peraza. You got Volpe in AAA, who's knocking on the door. You got Donaldson still. You got IKF. You still got Glaber. Like, what happens? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
are they going to hold on to all of these guys? Are they going to blow it up? You know what I'm saying? I mean, for me, I think you need to change it all up. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's come back with a whole new squad next year. You know what I'm saying? Besides the guys, obviously, that we know we need to keep. You know what I'm saying?
You need Judge.
You need Judge. Stanton. Obviously, G is going to be there. Cole's going to be there. Sevy.
Nestor. I like the rotation. Yeah. I like the rotation.
Yeah.
Even maybe Montas is a plus next year.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
But man, I mean, Hicksy will be back too. So, and Bader will be back. But everybody else, let's figure out a way.
I agree. Something needs to change there offensively because they've had many years now of the exact same results offensively in October, and there needs to be some sort of recalculation as to how that changes, and I don't know exactly what it is, but to me, you have to, is it just saying like, hey, Peraza and Volpe are starting day one? Maybe that's it. Maybe, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I just hope that, like, all these guys that we have that come up that are great prospects, that are great hitting prospects, they come up and they get to New York and it becomes different. When Gary came up, he was a guy that was, gap to gap, line to line, really used the whole field. And then, by the middle of year 2, he was just trying to hit balls into the bleachers. So, there's something, that's a disconnect from, whatever that's going on down at Himes that's coming up. These guys are all around hitters, and then they come up to the big leagues and it's a different story. So, I would love to see these guys continue the same success that they had in the minor leagues, what I'm saying? As far as the contact and the power and being, gap hitters and less so much power hitters, because we have 2 of the best power hitters in the league. You know what I'm saying? We need more contact.
Yes. More complete hitters who are going to put up quality at bats regardless, of who they're facing.
They seem to be that when they're prospects and they come up, and then it's a different story. You know?
Well, look, like I think that's part of the self-examination that the Yankees have to seriously take. It's like, because look, they've been really good with reclamation projects, right? Like a Wandy Peralta or a Clay Holmes. You know, they'll take guys like that. You know, Wandy Peralta is an absolute steal. That's a brilliant trade from Brian Cashman. They'll do that, and they deserve a lot of credit for that. And they've done that with some other players, like we saw what they did with like a Luke Voit offensively. You know, that was obviously a serious win. Gio Urshela, serious win. But you also have to look at the homegrown talent that has not blossomed here. And maybe it's all player driven, or maybe there's something you're not doing that you need to be able to honestly assess. And I think it's very fair to phrase it like that. You know, look at just in recent years, you know, Greg Bird appeared primed to be a really good major league hitter. You know, didn't happen. Development didn't happen, fell completely off the table. Gary Sanchez, you just described that. Same thing. You know, to a certain extent, Glaber. You know, Glaber, he righted himself for moments this year, for sure.
I feel like Glaber carried us at the end.
Yes, he did. In September, he was fantastic. And in the playoffs, he was decent. You know, he wasn't as bad as everyone else, but he wasn't great. But Glaber's had this weird ride as well, where it's like he's one thing in 18 and 19, he's something totally different in 2021, and then some months he's one version, some months he's another version in 22. Like, is there anything that's going on in the development that doesn't keep it steady? You know, Andujar, another guy like who, you know, he came up. He's the runner-up to Rookie of the Year, and I know he had the one injury, but is it just the injury totally derailed him, or is there something in the development that's not happening? Because you have to, you got to be able to reload and just like have your system be a machine. And if there's a process that is being skipped or mishandled when it comes to the development of players, like, and that's the reason why the Astros are getting what they are out of their guys and you're not. Like, you need to be able to honestly assess that and say, like, okay, like, what's happening here where, like, we have this young talent that we're not quite fully cultivating? What isn't happening that needs to happen? Or what is happening that shouldn't be happening? And, you know, I think that I'm with you. Like, it feels to me, I don't know what a dramatic change looks like or feels like, but it feels like it's time for that. Because what it feels like right now is there's been very steady inertia to the same exact ending over and over and over again. And if you want that ending, don't change anything. But if you are looking to get better than the Astros and bring a championship back, then something has to change.
And that's the thing. And that's the thing that, like, everybody's been telling me, like, and I put this in our group chat, is that it's not that the Astros have been better than us since 2015. Till now, right?
Yeah.
But they're like projected to be better than us from fucking 2022, 23 to 2030. Like, there's no outlook for us to like get better than them. You know what I'm saying? And you know, like, there's like there's nothing that we can point to. Like, they got Jeremy Payne, you know what I'm saying? Like, they got Kyle Tucker, like all these young guys, like, we ain't got shut up.
But we gotta see those guys ourselves before, because they're not here yet. Maybe Peraza is that. Maybe Volpe's that.
Yeah,
maybe Dominguez is that.
I'm watching these guys they're guys that ALCS MVP.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. And that's why I also feel like maybe the Yankees shouldn't be so hesitant to bring guys up. Maybe they shouldn't be as careful. Maybe you need to get them up here sooner. You know, like, maybe like, you know, maybe you need to realize in July, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, you're not going to trust in October, and it's time to see what Peraza can do when you have a 15-game lead in the division. You know, I don't know the exact answers, and I don't pretend to. I know it's not easy. And I also know, and I want to say this, like, one thing that does hurt the Yankees when it comes to taking care of the expectations of fans is you're coming from a place of success that just will never be duplicated in this landscape. You know, you're never going to win championships the way you did in the 30s and in the 50s, and you know, it's just it's not going to happen.
Win championships, but like what the Astros have done,
you need to do that.
It's the equivalent of the mid 90s Yankees.
Yes, Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like what you want to see is you want to be you don't want to be having the same October end every year.
You want opportunities to win the World Series. The only chance you get to opportunities to get to win the World Series is get into the fucking World Series.
Yeah,
and we haven't been into the World Series since 2019, since 2009.
That is science.
And these motherfuckers have been 4 out of the last 6 years, guys.
Yep. See, how about the other series? Phillies, Padres. We just talked to Phillies manager Rob Thomson, former Yankee coach. If you guys haven't heard that,
man,
definitely go back and listen.
It's been some incredible playoff games.
Yeah.
The matchups, the excitement from top to bottom, wild card series all the way through. And that NLCS didn't disappoint, man. Those games were insane. It looked like a fucking zoo in Philly. It looked crazy. Miles Teller was going nuts. Bryce Harper was showing off for the fans. Reese Hopkins got hot. Like, you know, Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola are two of the best starters in the game right now, and they're carrying this team, you know, throughout the playoffs. So, man, it's been fun to watch this team. Obviously, you know, we have a close relationship with Tomper and Rob Thomson and Kevin Long. So it's cool to see them back in the World Series, man. It's unbelievable. It's been an unbelievable run out of the teams in the National League. This would have been. I mean, I wouldn't have picked the Phillies to make this run. Not with you know, but not with the Cardinals. This I thought with the Cardinals would have done this.
Yeah,
I thought the Cardinals were going to make this run and go deep into the playoffs and maybe hit the World Series. But it's been cool to see the Phillies do this.
The Phillies probably would have been my, last choice. They probably would have been the sixth team I'd pick.
You know who's been nobody's rooting harder than the Phillies than the old Phillies, like Ryan Howard and Jimmy Rollins.
It's cool to
These
see,
motherfuckers
man.
on my phone all day, like just we texting back and forth like we still play.
Yeah, that's great. Too bad the Yankees didn't make it. You guys would have been able to relive 13 years ago.
Oh, it would have been great.
Oh my gosh. I know, man. It's what's interesting about that series too is even though it was a 5-game series, every game was dramatic and had like these epic moments and like crazy close. Like I think the thing that you probably feel a little robbed of if you're a Yankees fan is like you didn't really have like the series against the Astros just didn't have those moments. Game 4 was the first game that really felt like a playoff game, where it was like back and forth, big hits, you take a lead, I take a lead.
Fans, the Astros fans, they felt it from I was in Minute Maid and they were fucking screaming, "We won Houston" on the way out of the stadium.
Oh my gosh. You know what I was thinking? I was thinking
they felt like it was playoff games from the start, guys.
The Astros fans probably look at the Yankees the way Yankees fans look at the Twins.
Absolutely.
And if that doesn't resonate with you, if you're the Yankees, I don't know what will.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. They can't wait to see us in the playoffs. Cannot wait. Like, so happy, so excited.
Jeez, man. Something needs to change there, so that's not the case. Well, we'll be back on Thursday doing some World Series. With our we think we're going to have a special guest or two for that episode with our regular one, but we felt like it was important for us to get this right out to the people to react to the end of the Yankee season and share our thoughts on a disappointing end and another Houston win.
Another Houston win.
Man. And to the Phillies, congratulations to Bryce Harper, beast mode. One real quick thing on Bryce Harper too. Jeff Passan said this and it's true. LeBron was that young dude in basketball who, everybody knew as a teenager and who obviously not only lived up to, but surpassed the hype. Bryce Harper's done that in baseball. I'm not saying he is LeBron. I'm saying I like Jeff's thing about remember, Bryce had this microscope on him when he was 13 years old and everyone was projecting him as this star and he actually made good on it. And now he's in the World Series. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Pretty cool. I mean, it's definitely hard when you get those comparisons that young and, obviously everything he's been through and to watch his old organization win a World Series the year after he left.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool to see him carrying this team into it. And the way, their season is gone, like it's been crazy roller coaster. Firing Joe 50 games in, Bryce breaks his hand, comes back. He don't look so great and he gets hot in the playoffs. Like it's been a crazy arc for their season.
It really has. It really has. It's going to be a fun World Series. We will do more on that on Thursday. We thank you guys, as always, for hanging with us throughout the Yankee season and throughout this baseball season, and hanging with us always. You guys know the deal. New episodes every Thursday, bonus episodes as well. Make sure you're following us on all your social platforms, and you can download the pod wherever you get your podcasts, including on YouTube at R2C2. Make sure you check out every episode is up there. You can watch in full. So subscribe to that. Thanks to Atta. Thanks to Jackson. Thanks to Sadie. See, we'll do it again in a couple days.
Peace.
Peace.